Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Outlaws of Thunder Junction action. Today we're playing a Golgari counter crime deck, is what I'm calling it, because, well, we're looking to do some criming against our opponent by, well, removing their stuff, and then we're supposed to be building up counters using two particular cards. So the deck is kind of built around Vadmir, New Blood, 2 mana, 2/2, whenever you commit a crime, put a +1 counter on it, and then it has 4 or more counters on it. It has Menace and Lifelink. So if we keep committing crimes by casting removal spells or exiling cards from the opponent's graveyards, we will get Vadmir growing, and then eventually it's going to have Menace and Lifelink, which is a pretty nice payoff. Well, what is the other strategy in the deck? Well, we're killing the opponent's creatures, we're sending them to the graveyard, can exile them from the graveyard to commit more crimes. And then, well, if we're exiling key creatures from graveyards, one of the most fun cards to do that with is Urborg Scavengers. Is a 3 mana 2/2. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you exile a target card from a graveyard, so it can be your opponent's graveyard or your own. You put a counter on Urborg Scavengers, and it has all the keywords of the creatures that it exiles. So if you exile, I don't know, maybe a Goldvein Hydra, you get vigilance, trample, and haste on your Urborg Scavengers. So it's kind of a cool tech with Urborg Scavengers. This is like the real big card in the deck, if you ask me, as Urborg Scavengers, because this card is really good at snowballing. Well, it is the best card in the deck at snowballing, because, well, you play it down, you give it vigilance, trample, haste, it swings in, it gets another counter, so it's a 3 mana haster with vigilance, trample, haste, and then maybe some other keywords such as, I don't know, flying in lifelink from a Deep-Cavern Bat your opponent removed, and then you can also start removing things from the opponent's graveyard. So there's a lot of kind of cool synergies there. I had an original, like, more cute version of this deck where we were playing like legendaries, we're playing Vraska joins up, Tiny Bones joins up. I completely scrapped it. I had it like all recorded and uploaded, and I was gonna release it, but I played more games of the deck and realized it was just terrible. I think this deck is better, but I don't know if it's gonna be like the most competitive deck. All things considered, I have played I'm 12-9 with the deck. That is across all versions of the deck. The most recent version I'm 6-2 with, but 6-2 that's not a large sample size. It's only 8 games. But yeah, the deck, pretty good, pretty fun. If you're looking for something new to do, this is a pretty good deck to do it. And the important thing that I didn't mention yet is try to make these decks. I've been mentioning this in the past few videos, is trying to design decks that will not rotate come this fall. And so the only card in the deck that will rotate is Deathcap Glade. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the rest of these are all from sets that won't be moving into eternal formats. So you'll be able to actually keep playing this deck come this fall if you actually enjoy it that much. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop in some games and see how we do. If you enjoy videos like this, you know, consider subscribing, all that good stuff. And this hand, let's try keeping it. I think this deck is alright. It's jam-packed with removal, but I feel like it's probably a bit fragile. We don't have a ton of card draw. You definitely don't want to run out the Goldvein Hydra and just have it die. You're not going to get like any value from that. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what the weakness of this deck is, but it just sometimes it feels a little slow, I guess, is the problem. One way of putting it. Okay, we can hold up Go for the Throat or play Deep-Cavern Bat. They're probably in a Deep-Cavern Bat with their own, so we should probably jam ours down to stop theirs. Yeah, the opponent's playing like a Dimir Gix deck, probably. When Gix is a 3 mana legend, whenever you deal combat damage with a creature, you can pay a life and draw a card. Just trying to force out the opponent's removal here. Play Blooming Marsh because it says it enters tapped, or unless you control 2 or fewer lands. So this is as it's entering the battlefield, and since I have 2 or fewer lands as it enters, is the third land, it enters untapped. It was like one thing that confused me there for a little while. We're gonna get rid of our Go for the Throat, so maybe I should have just held up Go for the Throat, but Glissa is pretty nice because it'll start drawing us cards. We're gonna play this and probably get rid of Go for the Throat. If they do, we can just jam down Goldvein Hydra. But they might have... They don't have enough mana to hold up a counter spell unless they draw a land. Or like find a land. If that card's a land, then they can hold up a counter spell and then we have to play around to make disappear, but... I think the right move is Go for the Throat. Get rid of the Go for the Throat. Because then we're kind of forced to play Goldvein Hydra and we can't go for the Throat something more important, like a Gix if they draw into... Okay, well, they got a land, but thankfully it can't stop us from playing our Goldvein Hydra. We're gonna play this before combat. You can pay... I think Goldvein Hydra, cool card. I think it's pretty bad is kind of the problem. That, I guess, is one reason why the deck is bad, is like Goldvein Hydra, super cool card, really great when you exile it to Urborg Scavengers. Overall, it's just always behind the curve. Like, creatures and cards nowadays are so like pushed that this is always going to be like one power behind what it really needs to be to kind of contest. Like Deep-Cavern Bat and see that we have all lands. I'm playing 25 lands because, well, it's good to get lands when you need lands, but sometimes it comes back to bite you, doesn't it? Yeah, whatever, draw your card. I need my cards. I don't care if they draw a card for the most part. We can play this and then grab our Deep-Cavern Bat, so it's not going to have flying and lifelink, and I can play Vadmir. Just run it all out. They're not going to sweeper the board. Their deck isn't designed to sweep board. And now all of our creatures are a bit larger than theirs. And they all dodge cut down. Besides that one that died, obviously. Yep, more lands. Can't really swing in. I guess I could attack in with Urborg Scavengers if I really wanted to. Okay, this is the problem. I now need to think, and I'm not good at that. I mean, Glissa's not going to be able to stop any attacks. Goldvein Hydra's not going to be able to stop any attacks. So we might as well attack in with them. We don't mind if they die, because it means that we probably killed 2 creatures or more. Urborg Scavengers, can we afford to attack in with it? I mean, we can. It is lifelink, and then if they trade down creatures, that's also good. If not, we just do a bunch of damage. Probably should go for the Throat, but they probably don't have any recursion, at least for spells in their graveyard. Now they're gonna have to like triple block to kill Urborg Scavengers, which we don't mind. Interesting. Yeah, it doesn't really matter how we order those because they're all gonna die. I don't know why they're one blocking the Goldvein. They have like a pump spell for the Spyglass Iron because this has trample. The sandwich between vigilance and haste. That's where this trample. Maybe they think they can cut it down if they block it, but that's not how it works. Keep drawing cards. Oh, that's not great. Our first opponent is quite the thinker. This is the first game, right? I'm not tripping. That's a little disgusting. You can do this. Here comes the blowout. So they do have make disappear, so they could sack a creature to make disappear. Like the Spyglass Siren would probably be the. Actually, wait, no, they don't have enough mana for it. What am I saying? All right, we get to keep our entire board. We get to draw a card, but and they lose all of their creatures. You know, just jam a bunch of removal in your deck and you might just draw into it. Cut down. I love Urborg Scavengers. The fact that this is flying and lifelink is huge. So now we go for like 17 life. Glissa having first strike was very relevant there because we drew the removal spell off of the first strike, like combat, and then okay, they're gonna kill something. Probably the Scavengers, because otherwise it's gonna take over the or like end the game in the air. But then we need to not draw into a removal spell, which that's not a removal spell. That is a removal spell. And donk, donk. I guess we'll draw another card. Why not? So many lands. GG's. Okay. This hand's not great, but I see lands. Can you tell that I've been scarred by... Oh, I forgot about Dreams and Steel and Oil. There's somebody online that was asking, what are good discard spells? I completely skipped on this. Hate that it exiles. So disgusting. I don't think we're gonna win this one. This rate is not looking good. Trespasser. Do away with that. Alright, find me something good. Urborg Scavengers is nice. Why not? It's gonna be like nothing for them to reanimate with his virtue. Between the Graveyard Trespasser and the Urborg Scavengers, everything's gonna get exiled. Yeesh. Can't wait till this card rotates. Don't understand why the ward on it is so ridiculously good. Oh, they're mono black, so they shouldn't have any like fight spells to go with the Obliterator. Oh my goodness. Gix's command would have been annoying. You need to find our removal spells here. Okay, of course they literally just top deck to go for the grave. And now we're not going to top deck any removal for this Obliterator, are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we can't really block the Obliterator is the unfortunate thing. because it takes damage before the Goldvein Hydra dies. We can't really sack the treasures. The Obliterator. Obliterator is an interesting creature. Haven't seen one in forever. Do we just activate the cottage then? We need this for blocking other creatures and dealing damage, I think. I could Gix's Command. A bunch of treasures that we can then sack if necessary, but I don't think it's happening. I think we are dead. So we can animate the Restless Cottage. Still take 3. We can attack in with Restless Cottage and still take 3. Obliterator pulls it home. Unfortunate for us. Okay. We have a way to get another land potentially. We have 2 drops. We have some removal. Actually, they look like they're playing Esper. Maybe it would be good to get a bat down and try and interrupt them. Oh! Planeswalkers. Okay. That is obnoxious. I don't know, grab the Path of Peril so they have to play the temporary lockdown now. These go for the throats are pretty useless. I forgot about the Terra Thunder. I guess I could have played differently then. Get the bat secured. Can't play this yet. You can play it next turn. Manland dying. Fine, we'll get a black source. Alright, we'll save that for future removal. They didn't play their Kaita, which is kind of strange. You know, we're just gonna plot the Pillage the Bog and end turn. Vraska with my bat into a treasure. Tree. Okay. We'll play this for 5. I have 4. So we don't sacrifice the treasure and they don't get their sweeper back. I'm not gonna cast the Pillage the Bog yet. I don't need it.
My defiance never dies.
We cast it after they cast my Planeswalker here. That is frustrating. I land. Get rid of the Planeswalker.
I will rise again.
We can't really pass whatever we get from Pillage the Bog, so I might just continue waiting. Wait a little longer. The sooner we put it into our hand, the sooner they can make us like discard it with a discard spell or something like that. So I've been avoiding it.
These Phyrexians aren't like any
I'm not gonna cast it this turn anyways. Remove another one of my lands. Insatiable Avarice, that's fun. Sure. I'll draw some cards. What do we want? What's gonna allow us to pull ahead here? like consistently. I think it's just going to be Acklezotz. Everything else is kind of temperamental. That goes to the graveyard, so then we can exile it with the Urborg Scavengers and get an attack. Your graveyard, Goldvein Hydra, and then we can start exiling some of their planeswalkers. Because they might be playing a way to get back planeswalkers if they're such a planeswalker-centric deck. Get rid of the Vraska because it's more problematic than the Kaito. The Kaito just like draws cards for the most part. Nobody plays with that Kaito. Kind of interesting to see it. Acklezotz should... Well, it won't dodge a farewell or anything like that, but... Oh! Yucks! They cast farewell, can you believe it? Alright, well, let's play out an Acklezotz then. Kind of removal proof. Besides Sunfall and Farewell, of course, but... Leave it. Dies. But it will come back as a land. Now we can dig even deeper with our Pillage the Bog, but we don't need to, because we're just going to cast this for 7. Auto pay. We're just never going to cast them. The Pillage the Bog. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. It's fine though. We have Pillage the Bog to recover. Like whatever we want. Whatever is important. Temporary lockdown. That does completely hose on the on our snake. Alright. Find a snake. Not really a snake, but we need this to deal 6 damage. We can't play around. Alright, we'll play this first. They might have like a counter spell, so I'm going to take this a little bit slow. Okay. I get rid of all their farewells and see what they have in their hand. It's not brilliant exactly, but I don't think I need the Acklezotz in the graveyard. I don't really want them casting any more farewells. Those are annoying. The temporary lockdown. Okay. There's the farewell. What do we got in the library? Kaya's, Wanderers, Autowaras, Urza Assembled Titans, Jace's, Sorin, Barry, Liana Celestis. Okay. Alright. Have a better idea of what they're playing. I can play the Scavengers out because we know they can't remove it for the time being, so might as well. And get rid of Path Peril. Or Path of Peril. I said Path of Peril.
No matter the time or place, I'm ready to win.
They drew a card. Interesting. Sacred Moon Gauntlet. Yeah, that was not the right move, but Oh, I don't. Why would I attack the fairy? All right, we won. Tried to play a little cautious there at the end. All right, we got a cut down. We'll take it. I remember I said that this deck was kind of weak. Well, it seems like it could easily be. What I was trying to get to is that, like, this deck is pretty strong as it is now, but if it became like the center of the meta, I feel like it could get easily kind of countered with kind of building around it and putting in like graveyard hate. So if the opponent was playing their own graveyard hate, then your Urborg Scavengers gets worse. Yeah, kind of thought it was going to be Boros Convoke. We'll get done Glissa. Try to get rid of some of their creatures to slow them down. We're gonna need like probably a sweeper eventually though. Probably will play a land and then Pillage the Bog. I can't cast anything I would pillage besides like maybe a one-off removal spell, so maybe it's better to plot it. I could attack in, but we're not the aggro deck. We're trying to not die to Boros Convoke. I think it's better if we don't attack in. Problem with Glissa. You can't attack in and then keep it as a blocker. Same thing with like Obliterator and Vindicator, is they're really good blockers, but and they're not bad attackers. It's just you want them to do both a lot of the time. That hurt. How many cards in our graveyard? Okay, so if we cast this Pillage the Bog, we can Deadly Cover Up and activate the Deadly Cover Up. No Deadly Cover Up. And 2 non-land. What? Yo. What? Imagine if we hit this string of lands. That would have been biblical. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands in a row. Sheesh. Okay. Play Axolots, I guess. Get us some lifelink going. Kinda scared. This we can tutor up the sweeper to the top of our deck for 3 mana, but we would want something to hold up for 2 mana, or something to do with our 2 mana remaining. We're gonna, oh my god, Boros Convoke. Yeah, I haven't run into Boros Convoke a ton, but Boros Convoke is definitely one of the less good matchups. It's almost like they have like every card they play builds an entire board, and we're not playing any sweepers. We're playing sweepers, but it's just like they're not 5 mana sweepers aren't relevant sweepers against Boros Convoke for the most part. You're dead if you haven't done anything by then. This deck seems to dunk on mono red at least. You know, that we got that going for us. For this, hold up the cut down. Yeah, 6 and 2 against red. Boros 0 and 2. Doesn't feel great, but gotta get rid of the tenacious underdog. Don't really want to play out the bat here because if they get a chance, they'll just replay it with tiny bones. Like if they remove it and then they can recast it. Alright, we'll just play this down, get rid of their underdog. Seems alright. We just need them not to have, like... we can't cast any of the spells in our graveyard, so even if they kill the scavengers, we're still okay with tiny bones existing for the time being. Imagine a deck with Tiny Bones, Ragavan, and the new Ocelot Pride card from MH3. All 1-drops that can just like steal and snowball the game. Kind of great. Weird. The opponent did nothing. I'm gonna get rid of Tiny Bones. Don't really want to discard a card. We're kind of keeping pace with in terms of cards at the moment. So now we have the advantage in terms of cards. Let's get rid of their most useful card. Unless they have another removal spell, it's a cut down. You get to see their hand at least. Takenuma, so they can get back. They're Tiny Bones, and then that's fine. Alright, Pillage the Bog. I think I'm just gonna get rid of Gix. Means that they have to spend their entire turn with the Takenuma. Unless they draw a land. Take it minor. Alright, Urborg Scavengers. Let's see what we get real quick. I don't want Glissa. And I don't want them getting their Tiny Bones back, so we're going to start by playing Urborg Scavengers and getting rid of the Tiny Bones. Yawgmoth is less of... or not Yawgmoth. Gix. Is less of a problem because it doesn't feast on our graveyard, and like they only get a card if they connect. They don't get to recast like the best permanent in our graveyard, which is Deep-Cavern Bat or Urborg Scavengers. I mean, we can get rid of our Deep-Cavern Bat here, so they won't be able to do that. Glissa Sunslayer. He slayed the sun. You don't really care too much about your Yawgmoth at the moment. Or Gix. I keep saying Yawgmoth. Or Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth. Yeah, man, the Yawgmoth. Flying deathtouch lifelink. Pretty cool. Takenuma. The Snorse. The Snake Horse. Oh, they went for Gix. Gix doesn't seem good when you have a Glissa on defense. Maybe that's just me. Oh, they had one in hand. Fair enough. Alright, can I threaten lethal or anything like that? Attack with Restless Cottage. Don't think I really want to attack with Restless Cottage. Let's just go in with what we have. Get rid of their Caustic Bronco. Might just hold up Restless Cottage as a blocker and see if we can surprise their opponent. Yeah, draw a card, lose life. Land. Actually play the land. Then I can play this and hold up the cottage. So we can block them from getting any sort of attack in. Assuming they don't hit a removal spell off their Bronco or top deck. Urborg Scavengers is snowballing right now. You know, a 3-mana deathtouch flying lifelink 5/5. Pretty good. Okay. Tiny bones, that's fine. Yeah, we'll activate the cottage. They could remove it here, but I'm willing to take that risk. Actually, we need the Deep-Cavern Bat to, but we don't want them getting another card. Without the Deep-Cavern Bat, we can't exactly, like, guaranteed kill him this next turn. Well, we can. If we keep our land, obviously. Okay, now it's a little hard. I think we just threaten lethal. Right, we will exile the Bronco, and then we'll exile Go for the Throat. They have to block everything. This may have been a mistake. We'll find out. We should draw with Glissa Sunslayer. Okay, never mind. They're gonna take 6 in the air, which is kind of wild. And then we'll stop them from drawing too many cards by playing Deep-Cavern Bat. May have thrown the game there. Probably should have played more patient, because if they top deck like a removal spell, get rid of the scavengers, then things start looking really bad. Or start looking hard. Wow. Alright, that's a victory. We'll take it. Alright, well that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the deck. I think it's alright. Didn't really end up gaining rank there at the very end, just because we won, we lost. But yeah, I think the deck's alright. If you enjoyed it, you know, maybe consider trying it out. I don't know what to say here. Besides, it's a pretty cool deck. I like it. And yeah, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.